Welcome to our YouTube channel. Are you ready for an exciting adventure full of knowledge and entertainment? If the answer is yes, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a single episode. Welcome to your comprehensive guide to Vatican City, where you'll discover the must-see attractions, insider tips on avoiding the dreaded long queues and crowds, and advice on how to make the most of your visit to the world's smallest country. Ladies and gentlemen, let's embark on a journey through Vatican City. As the spiritual home of the Catholic Church and one of the holiest places on earth, it's no wonder that over 1.3 billion Catholics aspire to visit this remarkable destination at some point in their lives. Entering Vatican City is surprisingly straightforward, despite its status as a separate country. No passport is required, and you can freely explore the area at your leisure. Within Vatican City, there are four main highlights to explore. First and foremost, we have St. Peter's Square, the public plaza situated right outside St. Peter's Basilica. It's amusingly called a square, despite its predominantly round shape. However, once you set foot here, you'll be captivated by its sheer grandeur. Adorned with ornate columns, an imposing obelisk at its center, and charming fountains, this place exudes an extraordinary ambiance. To capture the best photos and videos of St. Peter's Square and Basilica, arriving early in the morning is highly recommended. St. Peter's Square also offers you a chance to catch a glimpse of the Pope. Surprisingly, it's entirely possible to see the Holy Father through two distinct means. The first is by attending an audience with the Pope, which typically takes place on Wednesdays. These tickets are officially free, and to request them, you'll need to fax the Vatican office. Yes, you heard that right, they still use fax machines. The application details will be displayed on the screen, and if approved, you can collect your tickets at the bronze door of the Apostolic Palace. Please be prepared for a potentially lengthy queue and security screening before entering to see the Pope. Alternatively, on Sundays, you can position yourself in St. Peter's Square, where the Pope often addresses the public from a window. If you wish to attend a Mass where the Pope presides, you'll once again follow the ticket system mentioned earlier. Once you've experienced St. Peter's Square and had a glimpse of the Holy Father, the next must-do is to step inside the magnificent St. Peter's Basilica itself. Beware, though, that during the middle of the day, the queue tends to be lengthy and slow-moving. To avoid waiting under the scorching sun or risking heatstroke, I recommend arriving early in the morning. Just take a look at the difference in queues. Indeed, St. Peter's Basilica officially opens at 7 a.m., and if you arrive at dawn like I did, you'll be delighted to find little to no queue at all, granting you unhindered access to explore this architectural marvel. As you can see, there's absolutely no queue here in the morning. If you plan to visit St. Peter's Basilica, I highly recommend arriving early to bypass the queues, security checks, and the associated hassle. With this comprehensive guide, you're well equipped to navigate Vatican City and make the most of your visit. Enjoy your time in this extraordinary destination, filled with rich history, art, and spiritual significance. It's truly amazing when it's peaceful. And once you step foot inside St. Peter's Basilica, you'll genuinely be in awe. This grand structure happens to be the largest church in the world, and it certainly lives up to its reputation. Prepare yourself for an experience like no other as you enter one of the most colossal buildings you'll ever encounter. Its vastness is almost overwhelming, leaving you with a sense of awe. While there is an abundance of captivating features within St. Peter's Basilica, there are a few highlights you won't want to miss. Firstly, there are numerous sculptures by the renowned artist Bernini, each one a marvel to behold. Then there's the iconic dome ceiling, painted by none other than Michelangelo himself. And don't forget to marvel at the gilded ceiling adorned with real gold leaf, a stunning sight indeed. As you explore further, you'll come across various tombs, including that of Pope Innocent XI, which is actually on display. It seems the Italians have a penchant for showcasing deceased bodies, don't they? Be sure to spot the imposing golden St. Peter's throne, it's hard to miss. Also, keep an eye out for Michelangelo's famous masterpiece, the Pietà, and the striking 10-story high altar, which stands over St. Peter's tomb. Additionally, don't overlook the staircase leading to the underground crypt, where the former popes rest in eternal peace. Prepare to be mesmerized by the intricate details found throughout this magnificent place. If you're a Catholic or a history enthusiast, you could easily spend an entire day exploring the wonders of St. Peter's Basilica. Keep in mind that St. Peter's Basilica is not just a tourist attraction, it is an active church. At different times throughout the day, you have the opportunity to attend Mass here. The schedule is conveniently posted on their website and outside the basilica, so you can plan accordingly. When visiting St. Peter's Basilica, aim to arrive either at the crack of dawn or around 6 p.m., just before closing after the evening service. If you depart during the day, you're likely to catch a glimpse of the Swiss Guard in their distinctive uniforms, and if you're lucky, you might witness their changing of the guard ceremony. While it may not rival the ceremony in London, it's still quite enjoyable to watch. Additionally, don't miss the chance to send postcards back home using the Vatican official post office. Exciting, isn't it? Note the sarcasm. Now, let's move on to the third item on your Vatican City itinerary, the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel. To access these attractions, you'll need to follow the city walls and enter through the North Gate, as they are not accessible directly from St. Peter's Square. I strongly recommend booking tickets in advance, but be cautious and avoid falling for deceptive websites. One might appear as the official Vatican Museum website, but it's not. They may offer access tickets bundled with unnecessary guided tours, which can lead to inflated prices. Regrettably, I fell for this trap myself. To obtain basic tickets for the Vatican Museum without a guided tour, visit this website. However, if you happen to be visiting during the quieter season, you can walk directly to the ticket office and purchase your tickets without enduring excessive queues. If you haven't already guessed, the Vatican Museum houses an extensive collection of art curated by the Catholic Church. Many renowned art pieces reside here, including some of the most famous ones you've likely heard of. Prepare yourself for one of the largest museums on the planet, similar in scope to the Louvre in Paris. It's an overwhelming array of art spread across numerous wings, and even then, it's impossible to see everything. So please keep that in mind, especially if you opted for a guided tour, as you'll likely be grouped with other tours in large rooms, which can become quite uncomfortable. For me, the most captivating piece was Van Gogh's Pietà, one of the world's most famous paintings. It's definitely a remarkable sight to behold at least once in your life. The highlight of the entire museum, however, is entering the Sistine Chapel itself. Please note that photography and video recording are strictly prohibited, and the security guards will promptly intervene and request that you delete any footage. The lengthy explanation behind this policy is their responsibility, but in short, don't even attempt to capture it discreetly. Honestly, it's not worth it. While it's undeniably impressive in person, don't bother taking your own photos or videos since you can find better quality content for free on the internet. As you exit the Vatican Museum, you'll encounter a rather fascinating spiral staircase, which I found more intriguing than the Sistine Chapel itself. Well, that's my opinion anyway. In case you haven't sent your postcards yet, there's another post office available. Oh, how thrilling. I mentioned there's a fourth activity to do here in Vatican City. You see that massive dome at the top of St. Peter's Basilica? Well, guess what? You can actually climb to the top of it. Upon entering St. Peter's Basilica, instead of turning left to go inside, head right towards the dome entrance. You can choose to either climb the stairs or pay for the elevator, although the elevator only bypasses the first 200 steps or so. However, I must emphasize that if you're unfit or have heart problems, please refrain from attempting this feat. The climb is extremely challenging, with long and narrow paths that take a toll on your legs. Even though you can take a break at the halfway point to admire the interior of the basilica from above, the views from the top are truly breathtaking. Admittedly, the ascent becomes significantly more difficult, with increasingly narrow walkways. But once you reach the summit, you'll be rewarded with some of the most stunning views of Rome, including the iconic shot overlooking St. Peter's Square, which, ironically, is round. Unfortunately, what goes up must come down, and descending the lengthy staircase awaits you. However, it's nowhere near as arduous as the ascent. Overall, if you visit Vatican City, you won't be disappointed. You could easily spend an entire day here, but even if you don't, you're free to come and go as you please. Whether you're a Catholic, an enthusiast of churches, art, or history, this is unquestionably a bucket list-worthy attraction. So, go ahead and book your trip to Vatican City. Alright, Nin, I'm convinced. What do I need to do? Well, you need to make your way to Vatican City. Despite being the world's smallest country, you don't require a passport, and there are no passport control checks. You can freely enter and exit the city at your leisure. There are two entrances you can choose from. Number 1, St. Peter's Square, which ironically is round, and the Vatican Museum. Depending on your intended activities, you can decide which entrance to use. The easiest way to reach Vatican City is by taking the Rome Metro and getting off at the Ottaviano station. From there, it's merely a 4-minute walk down the street. Alternatively, you can also reach Vatican City directly by taking buses or trams. Simply get off at the San Pietro stop, and it will bring you to St. Peter's Square. The cost? Access to St. Peter's Basilica is absolutely free of charge. If you wish to see the Pope, that's also free, but you will need a ticket. The combined ticket for the Vatican Museum and Sistine Chapel costs around €17. I highly recommend booking directly through the Vatican website, which I'll provide on the screen. And as mentioned earlier in the video, please, for the love of God, avoid booking with third-party companies. They often sell guided tours that you might not want, limiting your flexibility to explore the way you want to. In my opinion, a standard ticket for €17 will suffice. If you want to climb the dome, the cost ranges from €8 to €10. Is there anything else I should know? Yes, as mentioned in the video, to avoid the long queues, I suggest arriving at St. Peter's Basilica around 7 a.m. when they officially open. You'll find no lines, have the place to yourself, and can explore everything before the crowds arrive. Since it is a place of worship, there is a strict dress code. In general, shoulders and knees should be covered. If you are dressed inappropriately, you will be denied entry, regardless of how long you've been waiting in the sun. So make sure to dress appropriately. From March to October, it's considered high season, and it gets incredibly busy here. Be prepared for queues, security checks, and maneuvering through crowds of tourists. Please be patient because I guarantee you'll have an amazing time once you're inside. Due to its significance as a holy place in the Catholic world, silence is required in many areas, and photography and videography are prohibited, especially in the Sistine Chapel. Keep that in mind. Lastly, don't forget to check out my Rome City Guide. It's possibly the most helpful video guide you'll find, if I do say so myself. Take a look when you have a moment. Overall, I highly recommend visiting Vatican City. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. And if you have any other suggestions, tweet them at me. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Join us as we continue to explore the treasures of Italy, and let's keep discovering together.